Hi everyone, it's Carrie. Welcome back to my channel, Frugal Vegan UK. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, hi, I'm Carrie. I'm a 28-year-old vegan living in Bristol, UK. I've been vegan for 8 years now, and I live with my partner who is not vegan, but he eats vegan with me at home. I am doing a series on YouTube this January, which is a low spend series. Myself and my partner are doing the challenge of only spending £100 the whole month for our groceries. It is quite the challenge. If you haven't watched my first video where we do a big food haul and go through what we're starting with in our cupboards and our fridge and freezer, then do watch that. I will put a link to it somewhere around here. And if you have watched already, thank you so much. I have been completely overwhelmed by the response to that video, and I think a big shout out does need to go to the Reddit community for giving me my first few hundred views. That video is now on 6,000 views as I'm filming this, which is honestly quite hard to comprehend, especially for a first video. So thank you so much. So if you haven't already watched that one, then do watch that so you have an idea of what we initially spent, what we were starting with. This video is going to go into the meals that we ate this week and any additional shopping that we did, and then just some thoughts on how we're finding it. I mean, it is the first week, so hopefully not too hard. So I will just let you get into our meals now, our haul, and then I'll circle back and we'll discuss how the first week's gone. So one final thing from me. Unfortunately, one of the items that I featured in last week's video, someone commented and said, hey, look, I don't think that's vegan. And on further inspection of literally having to open the packet because it wasn't listed in the ingredients, there was pork in the mapo tofu that I shared. So I'm so sorry. If you've seen the video, please don't buy that because it's not vegan. It was a real shame. So yeah, really sorry, but thank you, Barbara, for letting me know because I was unaware. And I think that's so bad that they don't put it in the ingredients. Surely you'd need to. Anyway, I don't know. Won't get into it, but I was disappointed, but I was very pleased someone commented, so I didn't end up inadvertently eating pork. So thank you for that. This is my lunch today, which is some of the soup that I'd prepped and put in the freezer, leek and potato, and then I've just got some bread. And this is everything I took to work that day. So for breakfast, I had my protein yogurt, berries and banana, and then I had soup and bread for lunch and a Lucozade Sport. So dinner tonight is potato dauphinoise that I've made with the potatoes, cashews and vegan cheese, some broccoli and vegan schnitzel. And me and my partner will both eat this. So my partner was making dinner this night. He is just frying up some onion and some carrot here. We're making bolognese. So just added in the vegan mince and the chopped tomatoes here. It's cooking. And then here is our gorgeous pasta with bolognese and vegan cheese. I'm just going to make myself some lunch. I'm going to have a sandwich. I'm going to use some tofu, some vegan cheese, cherry tomatoes, avocado, and then I've got some spices there for the tofu. I am just really craving some tofu. I haven't pressed it, so this is going to be not the best. I would definitely recommend pressing your tofu. I also think a good tip is to keep your tofu in the freezer because the texture changes, and as it defrosts it becomes really spongy. This is actually really soft, so I'm not sure how this is going to go. So I'm just going to take the tofu and I'm probably going to use half of that. And then what I'm going to do is like a very haphazard attempt of pressing it. I'm going to wrap it up in kitchen roll and I'm going to just gently press it on top like that. Now you could leave this for hours, or if you've got a tofu press or that sort of thing, but I don't have hours because I'm hungry, so I am just going to do it best of my ability here just to get a little bit of that out at least. So you can see that it's absolutely drenched from that. So at least I've got some of it out. Okay, this is what the tofu looks like now, not much different. And I'm gonna try and slice it up into slices if it stays together. It's questionable, but we'll do what we can. I think what I'm gonna do is try and move it like as least as possible. Take a little bit of olive oil and spray it on there like that. Then I'm gonna use some pepper. A little bit of garlic. And then paprika. And I'm just going to sprinkle that, there we go, a little bit. Now this is going to go in the air fryer. So I've got one of these. And I'm just going to very carefully place it in there. And then this is what you're left with. And I'm going to pop that in the air fryer. I'm going to start it at maybe 13 minutes. I've just got some vegan cheese here. I'm cutting into slices. Take 4. And just cutting up these cherry tomatoes here. To be honest, bigger tomatoes would have been better, but there we go. Used what I had. I would also quite like to use artichokes, but I just could not be bothered to get them out the can and sort them out. So adding artichoke to this sandwich would make it top tier. Now I'm just adding some salt and some pepper. Next, I'm just getting the avocados. And I'm going to chop half of one here and just cut it into slices, as you'll see. Okay, so I've got the tofu out of the air fryer and that was on for 13 minutes. It's crispy enough. I'm very hungry. So you can see now I've got the tofu piled on and I'm gonna try and flip this like that. See, it's a very full sandwich. And cut it in half if I can, without it all coming out. It's going to be messy, but it's going to be delicious. And with that, some corn cocktail crisps from those random crisps that we were given. And I'll maybe have some fruit, but I will. Now you might be wondering where this pizza for dinner has come from, or will be revealed in the haul, but we've got pizza and chips. This was a weekend breakfast. My partner has toast with butter and I've got avocado on my toast. I went for seeded, he went for wholemeal. Right, I am making butternut squash risotto for dinner, which is actually quite time consuming. So I'm just starting by cutting up the butternut squash. I'm only going to use half of it in this meal, but I will roast both halves of it and freeze the other part. So just here I'm taking out all the insides. It's much easier to cut around where you're wanting to sort of scoop out to help you. I learned this through trial and error. Now I'm just adding some oil onto this and I'm going to be adding some seasonings to that as well. So some garlic there, and I came out all at once, so I will sort out that later. I've got some onion granules just popping on there, some black pepper. I'm just about to show it you here because I forgot to. Yep. And then rubbing it in to distribute it nicely. So whilst that is roasting in the oven, I am just going to prep this onion because I'm going to fry it and then put it to the side while I cook the risotto rice and add it back at the end. So I'm just going to chop it up and put it into the pan. And if you've got any other veggies at this point, you would be chopping them and putting them in too. But this is just going to be butternut squash and onion. So I've just got it here and I'm going to fry that up. I also wanted to add some protein to the meal, so you can see I've got some tofu there that I'm just going to blend up, and then I'm going to add to the risotto at the point where the rice is cooked. So you can see I'm just adding seasoning there, some garlic, some black pepper. I've got some nutritional yeast too. And this is where I went wrong, because I added water where really I should have added the stock that I already had and then added it in gradually like that, because this risotto did end up a bit too wet. So you can see the stock I had there and I start adding it. I should have added the tofu mixture to that rather than adding extra water. But you live and you learn. It was still really tasty and the leftovers thickened up nicely. I've just taken the butternut squash out of the oven and I'm going to add it back into the mixture there before I mix it all up, and it's going to give it a lovely orange colour. So lots of vitamin A in this, and oh my goodness, it's so tasty. I can't even begin to describe, even if it doesn't look the best. Learn from my mistakes here with it being a bit too wet. But here it is, risotto with some broccoli. I've got another lunch here of leek and potato soup with seeded bread and butter. This is a staple. And then dinner this night was caramelised onion sausages with mash. I had beans and my partner had gravy and broccoli. I had beans on toast the next day. I wasn't feeling too well this day, so this was my lunch. For dinner this night, we had the Aldi hot and spicy tofu bites, tofu fried rice, and broccoli, and this was delicious. I worked from home this day, so I'm just making a smoothie for breakfast before I start. So I start off with a banana and just adding that to the blender. And then I've got blueberries, so I just added some of those. Next up was the Greek style Alpro yogurt and added 100 grams of that approximately. Next was peanut butter and not quite a tablespoon of this. This goes so well when you have blueberries in a smoothie. It's honestly unreal. Would really recommend. Next I added some rice syrup. We got this for 49p once in Lidl, so that was such a bargain. And then I just added some water before I blended it all up. Off we go. And then I just poured it into my Taylor Swift Starbucks cup, which my friend Heather bought for me, so thank you, Heather. Lunch this day was carrot and parsnip homemade soup, which I'm going to show you how I made it in a minute, with some bread and butter. For dinner we had rice, tomato, pepper, onion and chorizo sausage. I'm just going to take you through two things I prepped. So the first thing is this carrot and parsnip soup, which I just showed you a clip of previously. So I'm just peeling and cutting carrots and parsnips. I've got about 750 grams of parsnips and about the same of carrots, maybe 600 grams, something like that. I'm just using up what we have in the fridge, so nothing goes bad. So I'm just got them in the baking trays now. I'm adding some olive oil and then I'm going to add some seasoning. So I added some chili powder because this is going to be sort of a curried carrot and parsnip soup. Not really, I've got some Madras curry powder there that I'm adding. To be honest, it's just warming. It's certainly not spicy by any means, but it's a warming soup. So adding lots of the Madras powder there because that's like the curry powder we had in. Those roasted for about 40 minutes, 35 to 40 minutes in the oven, and while those roasted I heated up some stock on the stove and added some onion, which you can see I'm just adding to the blender there. As you can see here, I'm just adding some garlic paste to the blender and the mixture, and I also added some more curry spices. This did make quite a thick soup, so I had to blend it a good few times to get it how smooth that I wanted it. Then finally, this isn't something that I ate this week, but I did prep it, and it was just these chickpeas that I put in the Instant Pot, and they cook on high pressure for 45 minutes. You add 2 cups of chickpeas and 5 cups of water, and then you let it slow release for 15 minutes, which means that you don't turn the switch on to release. And then you're good to go, and they're great. When I buy dry chickpeas or dry beans or anything like that, then I like doing them in the Instant Pot because I can just leave them, so I don't have to keep an eye on them on the stove. But also it does mean that I have the option of not soaking them as well, because I honestly hardly ever remember to do that. This Instant Pot I found on Facebook Marketplace maybe 3 or 4 years ago for £35. So even though it seems like it might be an expensive appliance, brand new, obviously it is, but definitely look on Facebook and places like that. I've got a bit of an impromptu haul here that was not anticipated, but my partner was in Bedminster, which is where Heron Foods is based, and you just can't pass up an opportunity to go into Heron if you're that side of town. We don't live nearby. None of this we actually needed, but some of it we'll stock up on, others is just treats. So it really shows that you can have those treats and those things that you don't think could fit into a budget if you shop at places like Heron Foods, where everything is so reasonably priced. So I'll start here with the mayo. Now you might remember from my last video that we already had 3 in, and they were the squeezy bottles. But he did see these. They were 2 for £1 for 400 grams. So he just couldn't pass it up, and I don't blame him. So we've got 2 of those for £1. The next thing that we've got here are the Chicago Town Saucy Vegan Pepperoni. It's stuffed with a garlic and herb sauce in the crust. These were £1.50 each, which is such a steal, such a good deal. And I think these are there because they've replaced the garlic and herb crust now with a spicy tomato one. So they're probably just getting rid of this stock. The next thing I've got here are some vegan magnums. These are just the classic ones, and it comes in a pack of 3, and those were £1, which is such a bargain. And then finally, we have got another ice cream here. It's non-dairy caramel cafe. And so it's caramel coffee, non-dairy ice cream with cookies, marshmallow swirls, soft whipped top, caramel swirls, and chocolate chunks. And it's made with oat milk. Used to be all made with almond, and I think they changed it to be allergy friendly. So that was £1.50, which again, such a bargain. Can't say no. You just can't leave it there for that. And then finally, we've got these Tango Chewies. We've tried these before from Heron actually, and they're really nice. It was 4 for £1, and my partner's already eaten the cherry ones. I don't like that flavour, so I'm quite fine with that. So we've got orange, apple, and blue raspberry here, and then there was a cherry as well, and all for £1. So in total, including a reusable bag, because he wasn't expecting to go in, we spent £7.90 of the budget. So I think that is a really, really good demonstration of how you can get those treats in, even when you're on a really tight budget. So here I've got my final haul of the week. Again, these are not things we needed, so I am going to have to rein my partner in on the bargains because we do only have a limited budget. But he absolutely couldn't resist these, and to be honest, I don't blame him. So we have the Lavi plant-based bacon lardons. They're smoked, and I think they come in a pack. If I just open them up, I think they're in like a 2-pack. Oh, they're actually really hard to... Yes, they are. So you can see there, it's kind of 2 packs. And this brand is a French brand, I believe, obviously Lavi. So yummy, but normally quite expensive. And these were on offer in Morrison's for £1.99. So he did get that, and I can't begrudge him that because it's just delicious. So very happy with that. And then he also got these, I believe these are from Lidl. And it's the Bats vegan mayo, and this is a garlic one. We don't see this in our shop very often, so when he saw them, he got 2. So we have the most mayo, I think, of any household in Bristol now. And these were 99p each. So for these 3 items, we paid £3.97, which is a bargain. And that is everything that we ate this week and everything that we bought from the shops this week. So as you can see, we did go to 2 different shops this week, which was not on the agenda, but that is quite realistic for how we shop, is that we pop in places, if we see a good deal, we get it then and there, stock up. We're keeping the budget low overall because we're not then having to buy it when we run out. We've got it already for that lower price. So I'd say that's definitely indicative of how we would usually shop. I have had to remind my partner, hey, you know, the budget, remember that? So I think moving forward, we're just gonna have like 1 trip a week to stock up on what we don't have or what we need, and that just limits it. I will say it's the absolute hardest month in the world, in the UK at least, to be on a budget when you're vegan, because so many things have come out. Oh my gosh, the supermarkets, there is so much. Like Aldi and Lidl have absolutely brought out so much stuff, and it is a bit of a conundrum because you want to supply the demand for those products so that they consider making some of them permanent. I know that a lot of them are seasonal. So yeah, I feel like when we get to the end of this challenge on the 31st of Jan, we're going to be hot-footing it, seeing what's left of the veganuary stuff and like stocking up massively. But having said that, you know, we do have a bit of a budget left. So if we break down the numbers a bit. So at the start of the challenge, before we started eating any meals, we did a big stock up from various shops, and that came to £48.33. So that is where we started this week, with that gone from our budget. Since we started the challenge, we have spent £3.97 at Aldi and Morrison's, and that was on the vegan garlic mayo and the vegan bacon, the Lavi lardons. And then we've also spent £7.90 at Heron Foods. That was on the 2 pizzas, on the ice creams, the sweets, like basically all the junk that we could have got, we got there. And that means that our total spent so far, so remaining, we have £39.80, which is still a very decent amount of budget, I would say. I've done some meal planning for this next week, for week 2, and we do not need to buy any proteins. I think that that is going to be the biggest expense as we go through the month that we're going to have to make some cheap choices on, because yeah, proteins can get expensive, and that doesn't matter if you're vegan, a meat eater, like whatever. I think that is just across the board. Vegetable wise, we're doing pretty well. We've still got tons and tons of broccoli. I have made quite a bit of soup, which you would have seen because I didn't want things to go bad. We've got 2 untouched cabbages at the moment, so I'm going to have to do something with those this coming week. Not sure if you've got any recipe ideas for cabbage, let me know. I'm going to do a roast dinner this week because we've got those various roasts and stuff, so we will have cabbage with that. And I'll cut some up and make like stir fry kits and keep them in the freezer, which will be like white cabbage, red cabbage, onion and carrots, and I'll chop them all together. And obviously we already have the frozen peppers, so I do have plans for the veg to make sure that we don't waste any of it and that it all gets used up. Fruit wise, we're doing pretty well. We've still got another week's worth of bananas and apples, which is great. It's just the berries that we've run out of now, or we've got like 1 portion left of blueberries. So it's just thinking about, do we need berries, or do we get some frozen berries maybe and make smoothies? But it's not really the time of year for it. I know I had 1 smoothie this past week, but in general, not really the time of year for it. So I don't know, I'll do a bit of thinking there. And then also I would like some like individual yogurts as well, just to take to the office with me, because we don't have many of those left, but we do have plenty of the like pot of yogurt, so we don't need any more of that. Overall, I'd say it's been pretty easy so far. I think it's just reminding ourselves we're on a budget and like that we need to make things last. But the freezer is still looking really healthy. The fridge is looking a bit more bare, but that's okay. And yeah, I'm really pleased with how we've gone so far. Like I say, those purchases that we did this week probably you didn't need, but I think as we go through the challenge, it will become clearer and clearer that we need to be tighter on the budget. This coming week, I am actually away overnight, Saturday to Sunday. and I will be having to eat out. I'm going to see a friend and we're going to a gig and stuff like that. So I will be eating out. My partner has very kindly agreed to film what he eats while I'm there, but I don't know if it will be a video or if I'll just insert pictures and talk over them. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments if you want to see what I eat in London. I will still try and keep it quite budget. That's something that comes from a separate budget from us. That doesn't come from the grocery budget. It's a separate, like, kind of entertainment budget sort of thing. But if you're interested in what I eat while out and about, let me know. But absolutely no worries if not. It's not really part of the challenge. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Honestly, like I said, I'm completely overwhelmed by the response. I'm so pleased to connect with so many fellow vegans, and I really just hope that this is hitting people who maybe have felt scared to go vegan because they think it's expensive, or like, are there the options? What would I cook, or that sort of thing. So I'm just hoping to spread the word, like, no, veganism is easy once you know what you're doing. It is budget friendly once you know what you're doing, you know, so just sharing those top tips. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel because I would love to have you back next week for the next video. Thanks so much.